Hello, everybody. Welcome to some sort of Splinterlands TV thingy-madoo. I am your resident homeless man, Olazor. I live in Homeless Town, Australia, and as Rondon suggests, I am a speaking beard, although I misread that as the spanking beard, because my beard's pretty nice apparently. At least people tell me that. For some reason, but you won't see it all. You'll never see my clavicles, not so long as I live. So, I've been very busy over this weekend, so I've been letting Archmage run rampant on my account, and I consider this a good time to review the actions. It managed to get me up to Diamond 1. And what did it cost me? My soul. I'm a very tired man today. And it's interesting going through my battle history because there's so many draws where there's mirror matches. So it's quite easy to identify potentially who else also is using Archmage at the time. So that's what I learned along this weekend in terms of Splinterlands play. When I didn't actually press any buttons to do it. So you can see here, it's almost a mirror match. There's just a couple of creatures that are different, but it still ended in a draw. That might actually be an interesting one to watch. That's way too big for my screen. So how this ends in a draw, I think everyone's just going to dodge themselves to death, or maybe the deceivers are the last ones standing. By deceivers, I mean the conjurers. But I'm not 100% sure. Because right now it looks like I'm going to lose pretty badly. Brutally badly. And that happens. And just going back over to the chat now. Hey Boomburst and hey Magic X SUVLX. I don't know if I said that correctly, but I've said it now, so I guess it's gonna be stuff and things and words. See, I look at this and I think there's no way this can be a draw. It's just all the healing. And then here comes fatigue. So I guess Vol'gin could have lived for a little bit longer because they had a total amount of higher health, but by the time this fatigue has come in, oh yeah, you'd think that if that had hit, that would have been a win. That's a interesting battley doodad. The speaking beard. That is me. I've been thinking a lot about land these last few days, particularly now that we have the in-game market implemented. I've been thinking about land a lot, and burn it on Wednesday. And you know, I've got 117 plots of land effectively, and I think I was talking about this on my stream last week as well, where I am worried that I'm probably not going to have enough cards to look after that land. And I'm thinking that I'm going to need a variety of cards to look after that land. And after my shopping spree, I think it was last week, perhaps it was the week before that, I look at my collection of cards. What was it? I think it was not legendary blue splinter. It was definitely tide biters. I went and got myself so many tide biters. So there's like 3 max tide biters there, then a whole bunch of them at 10 BCX, so they get that reflection shield in. They seem to be doing okay. They settled into my collection, and at a later date I can combine the 10 BCX ones that I've combined with the single BCX ones that I'm just got in my collection to ensure that hopefully 786 is divisible by 46 in some way. I don't understand how that equals 17.08, but hey, I guess there's the potential for 17 tide biters there. But is my land going to be 17% water? Is it going to be this, that, or the other? So I feel like from a land perspective, neutrals are going to be what I'm going to need to focus on. And unbeknownst to me, I don't remember when or why I have nearly 10 max Gargoyle Alliance for some reason. And I can't remember when I did that, which probably suggests that I'm tired perpetually, forever. The other thing that I was looking at as an option, because another one that I've got a few cards of, is Uraeus. I somehow have 130 BCX of they, because, you know, it's a snake. We can't tell its gender by looking. You know, I'm now interested if the lore of the snake tells us anything about the snake. Everything is interesting when you're tired. Let's go read the lore of the snake. What does the lore of the snake say? Another option is just to give the land to you. Less issues, got less land, got less problems. There is a famous circus camp in the smouldering forest of the Burning Lands called the Cirque. As the boldest daredevils, the most agile acrobats, and the most distinguished freaks anywhere in the Splinterlands. These performers were especially well known for their daring games with the most dangerous creatures in the world. They held staring contests with saber cats and shot themselves into small boxes with rabid Magallarian wolverines. When it comes to Snake, these daredevils have one rule: don't mess with a Uraeus. Well, that doesn't tell me anything about it, other than it might be a dangerous thing. I thought there was going to be a story about some snake charmer and like a vessel from which the charmed Uraeus emerges, and then it backfires and it sneaks up and stings its snake charmer, then goes off and becomes a Splinterlands card and whatever. But yeah, I was looking at Uraeus as an option to occupy land, because once the sandworm also goes out of circulation in Modern League, I think Uraeus is gonna be one of those things. They seem to have a bit of a elven assassin sort of feeling to them. At least that's how I feel. Sorry, Elven Cutthroat. That's the name of the card I'm thinking about. Except Elven Cutthroat is just way less better. And sure, it's a common versus an epic, but I don't know why. I just feel enamored by Uraeus at this present time. And yeah, I mean the poison is so good. It's basically piercing, right? So I'm gonna head on over to Monster Market and just enact what I've been thinking about for about a week, which is like, why don't I just go relieve people of their Uraeus from the market? So that's 41, 45, 46. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 Uraeus via 13 cards. Get me some. And I just did it. And apparently it was a successful purchase. So if we now go have a look at our rewards, we shall bear witness to a collection of Uraeus, inclusive of one that was combined to 50 BCX, because, you know, why not? Combine those last ones to make it maximum power, maximum level. Now the intermediate rental returns on that are not going to be wonderful or great or crazy or whatever, but it's an epic card that's really, really useful in battle. For less than $5. And, you know, I can't pass that up. It feels foolish to do that. And then I'm looking at these two that are in that range as well, but it's kind of like, that's a lot of individual BCX that I need to level them up. I feel like Uraeus should be like a 15-cent card. Seeing it below that price point makes me want to scoop them all up, give them a nice new home in my collection, and eventually upon my land. At a 15-cent card, what would they be maxed? And probably even then. Yeah, $7 for a maxed epic. What are the other reward epics? And have they all been as useful as Uraeus? I want to do some speculation now. Let's speculate together, Twitch chat. Regular reward epics. Okay. So, looking at these reward epics, I'd say Axe Master's probably the most useful. Maybe even that little Tidebiter is possibly the most useful. And I haven't played Wild League for a very long time, so I'd say that Manticore is super useful. So is Imp Bowman. Uraeus still sort of feels like theft. Sure, it's the most expensive current gen epic reward card, but it feels like theft. Yes, Shadowy Presence is very useful. I tend to use it a lot as a barrier in my death teams. I love the fact that it brings Inspire and Strengthen, and it has a decent amount of health for those low mana matches as well. But yeah, there's sort of, I feel like there's so much more potential with Uraeus, and if we have a look at Kyokiz's GitHub reward cards thingy-madoo, how many Uraeus is there left to come through? So they've still got 25% their print run left, which you could sort of make a case for them to become even cheaper than what they are based on that. But I don't know, it feels kind of nice to me. All of these cards are pretty similar. I mean, Tidebiter. Keep coming back to that Tidebiter, don't I? Yeah. I mean, that's what basically brings me towards wanting to grab them. Imagine having a Uraeus on each and every one of my plots. Is that too bold of a dream? I think that's something that I can get behind. I can just call my lands like the snake lands. Send these cards across to my alt where I have all my other cards live. And if I jump back to here, you look at something like Murdhamp here, it's 34% done. Although the Gargoyle Lion is 91% done. What's the closest to being done? It's the Conjurer and the Bandit. That poor little Deceiver doesn't have nearly enough stuff printed, comparatively speaking. The other reason that Uraeus is something that I think is great is that it's actually useful in battle as well. And if we look at, I have to go on over to Peak Monsters here, because with all the stuff where we've spoken about cards on the town hall, sorry, where we've spoken about land on the town hall, that sort of thing. There's been the sort of suggestion made that collection power is going to matter an extraordinary amount when it comes to getting things to work on your land. At least that's a little tidbit that I sort of picked up. So if you look at best collection power to cost ratio to buy, at least, Gargoyle Devil is there as the best neutral. And if I just flick this to a neutral filter, but Uraeus is not that far behind. The delta between these, I'm going to have to get a calculator out now, is 952.381 divided by 1176.71. Okay, so you're paying a 20% premium on a Gargoyle Devil, which is interesting. But I'd rather have Uraeus in my house than a Gargoyle Devil, or a Gargoyle Lion for that matter. And Dario asks a very interesting question, which is another thing that I've been thinking about as well, is how am I thinking about summoners? And that's a much harder proposition, and it's something that I thought about not an insignificant amount of time ago. So I've now got my collection here, and if I filter this down to summoners, I think I've done a little bit of preparation down this path. So I've got some of my wild summoners, which are not going to be enough to obviously fill out each of those plots, but we've got a max Mauric, a max Lyanna, a max Tyrus, a max Selenia, a max Daria. So that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 5 summoners sitting there. This is going to be depressing when I calculate how much percentage of my land is going to be covered by these summoners. There's a max Wizard of Eastwood, which makes 6. And then I jumped on Kretch So I've got 3 max level Kretch. So I figured Dragon Summoners would be useful for land, because they'll be able to use cards from any Splinter, right? At least that was my thinking. So my thought was, hopefully, Dragon Summoners can be deployed on any plot of land. But that may not be the case. It may be the case that Dragon Summoners can only be deployed on certain types of land. So I feel like there's going to be a need for a balanced stable of summoners. Those are my thoughts. And as I've sort of played the game with these prior gen cards, I've got those prior summoners. I'm going to have the untamed summoners come out of Modern League and fall back into Wild. So they will then become part of my land stable, I guess. And who knows? You know, that's the other question of when land. The other wild card that I've sort of got sitting there is my unopened Chaos Legion collection, which lives here, and I don't know what the drop rate is going to be on summoners out of that many packs, and my brain is incapable of doing the maths on that really quickly. But let's do it really slowly instead. So we've got Chaos Legion. We've got rares. So how many rares are there that are monsters? There are 23. And there are 5 rare summoners. So 5 divided by 23 means that there's a, that doesn't feel right, but a 21% chance of getting a summoner come out of a untamed pack opening. So if I multiply that by the number of packs that I'm sitting on, that means I'll get another 8 max summoners. Is my logic sound there? I'm not sure. That's not considering also the legendary Chaos Legion summoners that will drop. So there's how many cards in there? There's 3 of them. There's 22 of them. We're still expecting legendary summoners for the other elements. So we've got water, death, earth. That will get us all of our legendary summoners. So it'll be 5. So 5 divided by 25, that's another 18% chance, I think. No, straight 20%. And if that's multiplied across the... So it was easy to do the drop rate with rares because you get that 1 guaranteed rare per pack. Rare or better though, so it's going to be slightly less than that alleged rough number of 21% that I came up with. So you got to multiply that by whatever the drop rate for a legendary is, which I don't know off the top of my head. So let's go to Splinter cards. This is sort of a tour of all of the various Splinterlands tools. So we've got, I think I'll just use the pack value tool here. So a legendary has a drop rate of 1.53%. So multiply that by 0.153, multiply that by the packs. That probably adds another summoner there. So that's 9. So I got to go back to counting here. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 18. So yeah, that's 18 summoners at this pack. So, sorry, at this point. So then 18 divided by 116 means I've only got 15% of my land covered by max level summoners. Which is pretty pretty difficult, because if I wanted to have a max level summoner on every single plot of land, that's crazy levels of cards. So if we were to go look at the market and say, okay, well, if we can put any summoner on any land type, and we look at this from a perspective of best collection power to cost, or lowest price to buy, that's a summoner. It's amusing, Gary. It'll be interesting to see what will happen with land rentals in the game as well. Whoops, I just added something to cart. That's not what I intended. What I wanted to do was look at the cards here. So, yeah, that quickly becomes, as Daru suggests, quite the expensive ordeal, to the tune of like 12,000 USD to have a max summoner for every plot of land. The problem is, I have a tract. If I sold my tract, I could probably get enough to have enough summoners for the tract, but then I wouldn't have the tract. So it's that's a very catch-22 scenario, isn't it? I wonder if the promo card that's been teased but not really teased as part of this Christmas sale is going to be a summoner, because the last time we had a promo card that was a summoner, I just want to be clear, I don't think it's going to be a summoner. But the last promo card that we had a summoner other than Sure was Delwyn Dragonscale, who, well, I don't see any of in battle anymore, but I never maxed that card out. It was a weird time in Splinterlands, that for me. And no, Ron, that's not what my beard is saying. If my beard was saying that, it would be saying it clearly with mighty intent. I'm managing to overpower it currently, though. Max wants to fight the Llama Cron. Alright, boring talk is boring. I burnt all my ECR, so I can't exactly go off and play matches unless I want to burn even more ECR, and then that becomes a vicious cycle. So, I mean, feel free to send challenges. At least then you get to see me lose, as per normal. We've got a 99 mana match with weak magic, and Green Splinter is available. Yeah, technically, but I think the next one is going to be a lot more widely available. And as a common, 400 packs for a max common doesn't add up, because that's, what's 400 times by 5? That's 2,000 cards. No, it'd be 4,000 times 4, it'd be 1,600 cards. So yeah, getting a 1 in 4 chance of getting a individual card I don't know. But it's time to go to the RIP camera for Max so that they can't see what I'm doing. And they told me to go Llama Cron, but it's weak magic, so do I really want to go Llama Cron? Who am I to refuse a viewer's desires? I'm going to do a team that's going to be full of legendary cards, and you can't stop me. Unless I run out of legendary cards, then I can be stopped. I think I've run out of legendary cards. No, there's another one. Is there another legendary card? I just need one more legendary card. Everybody, name an Earth legendary card in the chat. And do it within the next 20 seconds, otherwise I'm going to run out of time. Yeah, you are right there, Rick. I was just thinking of it as if you had that card inside the packs, which I don't think is going to be the case afterwards. Oh, Ron, you guessed correctly. I'm a sucker for punishment. I went with exactly what Max wanted. Llama Cron, but there's some other little juicy tidbits in there as well. The scatter shot is something that I'm deathly terrified of. And Max has brought along all the magic reflect stuff. And I expect when we get to Rondon's challenge next, we're going to see Uriel the Purifier in one way or another. And oh, look at this. Go Last Stand, Dr. Blight. Come on, champ. No. The Giant Killer was beautiful. Alright, let's look at Ron's challenge now. You are already looking for a match. Oh no. My bot is fighting. It didn't even turn it off. Because I'm a fool of some sort. But it won me 2 matches. Let's control F5 the match here. Hey, Sai Tutu Leo. Yeah, sure. Let's create a team for whatever this is. It's explosive weaponry and spreading fury. I bet as soon as I submit the team, it'll say a team has already been submitted. I am going to go with Dark Hawan. Blaster, look at that. A team has been already submitted. Alright, I guess let's watch this, then we'll do Rondon's challenge. The surprising surprises of surprise. So we have Blast. Tidebiter is along to ruin everyone's day. That's a nice retaliate. I really do like the Nectar Queen. I wish it was my team that had the Nectar Queen, because I like Nectar Queen better than I like Chain Golem. But I don't think that's a win. I'm just going to walk away from that and engage in Ron's challenge. We are playing at some league level. And we're not allowed to heal, but we have equal opportunities. So I've got something in mind for this. I do have something in mind. And keen viewers of my stream probably know exactly what I'm about to play. Okay, that stuff's in there. Oh no. He's read my mind. He's got a profile of like everything that I do. How does he know? It's like he watches my streams or something. But you know what? There's always opportunities for wildcards. And that's exactly what I've done. I've thrown some wildcards in there. You're going to see a tank that you've never seen be a tank before. And I'm proud of the fact that I'm bringing this tank into battle. So proud. It's going to be the greatest tank you've ever seen in your life. You're going to be like, where does he get these tanks from? Why doesn't he have a contract with the militaries of every nation to be this tank? And here we are. There's a chain golem. Oh, we were just talking about the chain golem. That void is pretty smart. I really wish my guy had some sort of more survivability out there in the back. You know what? I take back everything I said about Uraeus. The real MVP is the Silver Shield Assassin. They're like the most of the MVP. And I also forgot the fact that Ancient Lich doesn't have revive at gold level. He's just a boring little life leechy dude. And then I forgot that one of these life leechy dudes doesn't have the thing with the stuff. Now, I don't think we're going to get the trample underway here, which was sort of part of my plan at taking this by surprise. I was going to start trash talking and say, you knew what I was going to do, but you still didn't win. But I knew what I was going to do, and I still didn't win. I'm just disappointed that you didn't throw in a Uriel the Purifier there. That's the true tragedy that occurred. And hey, look, I was right about that other ranked match. It was a loss. It was indeed a defeat. Too easy. That's the wrong two, sir. Unless you wish to challenge me again. Or, you know what? I could always do the same thing. Nah, Uriel's got to be good in all circumstances. Let's just straight up challenge him right back. And we'll go, oh, he's beaten me. He's like a hacker, man. He's too quick. We're just going to keep challenging until you can play Uriel the Purifier. That's our key. We have to build a team around Uriel the Purifier, even though it's back to basics. I don't know how we're going to involve Uriel the Purifier into this squad, considering it's Little League and he won't fit. It's like you must be this tall to enter this ride. He's a little bit too tall to enter this battle. It's sort of two choices here. Well, really three choices, maybe four choices. I'm still looking at summoners. There's more choices than four if you can count higher than four, which is something I never learned how to do. So I think I'm going to go with option 3 as it's presented before me here. In terms of the random order in which things appeared. And back to basics kind of ruins this, in my most uneducated of opinions. But I'll do everything I can to make it slightly less ruinous than what it could be. Actually, no, you know what? I'm going to make it as ruinous as possible. Because that's what makes this fun. That's what makes it amusing. That's probably a bad choice, but it's too late. I've clicked it. Now go backsies. Now, wouldn't that be a cool tournament format where once you've selected and clicked a team in, you can't modify it at all? You're stuck. Wow, we had a remarkably similar strategy. An incredibly similar strategy. Some would say it was almost identical. The Borders town is populated by turtles. That silence. Yeah, I was thinking of bringing the Angelic Mandarin, but I thought, what if he brings that fancy new life lady, Ilthian, and then my little guy just goes and falls down and has a bad time. And I think you can have a tin of baked beans out of my pantry for that one, Ron. Send me a stamped self-addressed envelope. I'll deposit the baked beans in the envelope and trust Australia Post and the United Parcel Service. Is that what they call the UPS over there in America? I'll just send you an envelope full of beans. I think it would be a hilarious thing. I had a friend of mine who used to work for the United States Postal Service. That's right. UPS is another courier company from memory. Okay. Well, there's that. I kind of want to go back to talking about Uraeus now and like land and things and stuff. But clearly that's not what the people want. What the people want is to watch me suffer. And you know what? Let's just burn my ECR down even further by playing a ranked game. We'll go from 49% to 45%. 44%? I know maths. I know how to calculate things somehow. We'll see. These are going to find me a match though. Well, I could, but we've already done 2 challenges, have we not? Or am I just experiencing the Matrix deja vu? I like this rule set though. It's reverse speed and equal opportunity. Equalizer. That's the word. Equalizer. I really wish it was a Wild League game now though. You know what? Since it's 99 mana, I might go with all the giant killers. It's dragon time. This is me being irresponsible in my team selections. There's a giant killer. Where's my favorite giant killer? There it is. Desert dragon. Delicious. Hey, Butops. Good to have you with us. Right. Now I've got 2 giant killers. I want people on my team that are not giants, such as the Skyclaw. And perhaps Sandworm and Jin Murray. And now something that does things. Yeah. Let's throw Kane in and see what happens, because he's got Reflection Shield, and I really want him to be a better card than what he actually is, because I've not found a way to utilize him that has been effective at all. And I'm unsure whether or not my giant killer will work here. Oh no. My poor little desert shark, demon, whatever the guy was. Desert dragon, that's the name. I know the names of things. We've killed Longtail once. I'm really a fan of Jin Murray at this point. He's dead now, but he was carrying the team for the briefest of moments. Come on, get out of here, Longtail. This is not great. I mean, we've kept the Bloodlust from pumping though, which is the real key. That's not going to continue into the next turn. Let's just take a moment to appreciate the fact that I ignored the fact that this was reverse speed and went with Kitty, because everything was always going to hit anyway. That was not great. All right, now I'm going to actually use my hands and challenge Rondon. We'll go Gold League as they wished. Let's throw Gladiator cards into the mix though. I want to see how Gladiator cards go. Then we can extend my losing streak to 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6. A 6-game losing streak. Could be good. Could be interesting. We'll see. Oh, it's 13 mana. It's target practice. I'm gonna be predictable as hell and just do this. I'm not even obscuring my screen for this one, Ron, because whenever it's 13 mana, it's got to be Llama Flesh Golem. So send your best. I've told you the team. Got to try and knock that team out of the park. If you also play Llama Flesh Golem, well, then well done. But I don't think you've got a Llama in your collection. Do you? Let's find out. How do I find out? That's my cards. I want to go look at Rondon's cards. Let's judge Rondon's collection. He has 2 llamas. He must be planning on stealing mine. Legendaries. And green splinters. Oh, he does have 2 llamas. One of them is delegated out. One of them... Ah, so I see. It won't let you click battle. Oh, did we do a mirror match? I don't know. Did we do a mirror match? Oh no, here we go. Okay. Well, I think Flesh Golem can win. Maybe not. Uriel's pretty angry. Having said that, Uriel's not going to be able to do any healing. And I am losing health every single turn. That's not Uriel, that's Jared Scar. I know my cards. Another crushing defeat. See how easy it is to beat me, everybody? Even when I'm taking things super seriously like I am right now. Does the shop page have any details about the sale? It does not. Therefore, I desire to go to the blog. And let's see if there is more details about this promo. You do not win a land plot. You win a festive grum. This looks like your handiwork. Okay. Da 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 da. Additional bonuses. Well, I don't think I'll be spending all of this because I don't have this sort of money. I definitely don't. What about tower defense? I definitely don't have that sort of money either. Group buys. Cyber bulk deals. Players are able to get the promo card with every pack they purchase. So if you buy the standard pack details through the website, including packs purchased with vouchers, you'll be able to get 1 promo card. In other words, you have to promote in the blah 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 blah. Right. So I'm pretty sure that we're gonna see a common promo card. At least that's my guess. So if I wanted one of these common promo cards, it would cost me basically all of my DEC that I have right now, which is probably pretty smart in terms of the decision that the team is making. No, I don't play Wild anymore because I've got all of my Wild cards sitting on my Hollow Zaps account, and they are currently either in the hands of another player via delegation or languishing, awaiting a purpose in their life. I sort of gave up on Wild because I got sick of this guy, the Kraken. I got so sick of seeing the Kraken in almost every battle. And I also got sick of Animal, both of which are cards that I do not have. So that moved me away from there. But at the same time, I've lost some great cards. One of my favorite cards is no longer available, the Corrupted Pegasus, because I really enjoyed using that card. Mermaid Healer, Electric Eels. Oh, so many good cards. The Silver Shield Assassin is definitely a card that I miss, as well as Zarin Ifrit. And of course, I was always a fan of the Screeching Vulture. I think the other one that I can safely say that I miss is also the Wood Nymph. These images are very low size words on the stream, so I'll just make this bigger. But what was it? Oh yeah, Phantom Soldier as well, and Ruler of the Seas. Like, I miss a lot of these cards. Exploding Dwarf, amazing card. Don't have nearly enough of those. Imagine having your lands just ruled by exploding dwarfs. That would be fun. But yeah, I've got, as a percentage of total cards that are existing at max level, if I look at rewards that are sort of modern rewards, I'm only really missing the Demented Shark, the Axe Master, which is not so bad. And why have we been sent a pack? Are we going to do some sort of away give where we fling cards into the audience? Oh, it's for me? It's a gift? I don't accept gifts. How do I burn the pack? How do I get the pack and just burn it? Nah, we'll open this one and we'll play a guessing game for the fine, beautiful, and lovely people in the chat. And oh, it was an Untamed pack. I thought it was just a Chaos Legion pack. Jeez. Okay. Thank you. I didn't realize. I'm very tired today. Over the weekend, I did something like 14 hours of photography work for a person that was not me. And I was on my feet for all of those 14 hours. And then last night, there was not a whole bunch of sleep. So, Not Real Batch thinks we're going to get a kitty. Let's burn 1,000 Chaos Legion packs. Now, the proposal for that already went through. They're going to get burned. I don't need to do it. Yes, and as Rondon suggests, I did wear up a button-up shirt, but there's no evidence, photographic or otherwise, of that. But I'm glad that I did, because the people at the event that I was at were... It was... it's basically a black tie sort of event. Cocktail dresses, all that sort of stuff. There are pictures. I just took them. Yeah. I don't know if I'm tagged on Insta. We'll see. We will see about that. So we've only got one prediction here so far, that perhaps we're going to get a kitty in this Untamed pack. Maybe we'll get a Jotun. I don't know. Let's find out. It's been a very long time since I've held an Untamed pack in my hands. Let's devalue the contents. We could just open the packs. That would be fundamentally the same as burning them. Okay, so we've got 2 rares in here. So we're definitely not getting a kitty. I don't mind Biceratops. There's a cave slug. You got a good guess. Maggots as well. There's a living lava. That's not bad. What about this one? Oh, it's another one of my favorite cards. The Khmer Princess. That's a pretty nice pack, I think. Don't want to look to see if it was fancy relative to the thing, but Cave Slug's a great card. Diamond level when it's got slow, because it brings things down to its slow level. It's just terrible in reverse speed because it slows the enemy. I wish there was a game mode where you could be like, no, I'm going to play a level 8 version of my card instead because I don't want it to bring slow to this battle. That would be nicer. That would be much nicer. Would add a ton of skill to the game as well. So yeah, have the burns been implemented yet? I don't know. Prepare to have your eyeballs seared. As I just quickly jump into my favorites here and go on over to the Splinterlands release notes. I'm going to do a big old Control F because I'm lazy. So we've got the word burn appearing near vouchers. That it went to a different transaction. Yeah, okay, so it hasn't been implemented yet. So that's okay. Yeah, I've seen that tactic, especially in tournaments back in the day, where it's like, actually, it's disadvantageous to play that particular card with that particular ability. So I'm only going to have a gold version of that card, or alternatively have a gold and a non-gold version, and then you can choose whether to play the gold or the non-gold version of the card, which is like crazy just increased levels of whatnot. But that doesn't really matter if you don't have very many gold cards like me. I've got like basically, oh no, I've got a few more gold cards than what I thought I did. I was very selective with the gold cards that I wanted to grab. And I did that somewhat early as well. The only reason I have a gold shield bearer is because when I opened all of my untamed packs, I had not very many shield bearer, common foil, regular foil shield bearers, but I had a lot of gold foil shield bearers, so I thought, it's cheaper to just buy the gold foils than the regular foils, so that's what I ended up doing. And the reason I have a Jin Renova in gold is because, and this is something that goes down that Uraeus conversation I was having earlier, you only need 10 of them. And people are practically giving away these Jin Renovas for less than $3. It's like a gold foil epic for less than $30. Remember when gold foil epics were just $30 for one card? So I aggressively collected my Jin Renova in the last week. And you know, it's such a great time. Even Tidebiter, such a steal. It feels like a steal. Uraeus probably doesn't have as much value there, but all of this just feels so cheap. I'm confused as to why Igor is worth more than Tidebiter when Tidebiter is used a lot more. I know the stun is very useful, but yeah, I could max out that Fernheart as well. it's too many choices. Like Agro has said, you're never going to have enough money to buy everything that you want in Splinterlands, so you've got to make choices and sacrifices. And maybe that choice or sacrifice that I'm going to have to make is to look at things like what's in my surplus collection. Let's say for summoners, for instance, I'll just take that wild filter off. I think I've got a... So I've got a llama mage sitting here. I could get rid of that llama mage. It's only a single BCX. I get basically a summoner and a half at max level for that llama mage. It wouldn't be sought after, but it feels like a appealing choice. I don't know why it feels like an appealing choice, but it does. And I think I did that with one of my Jotans previously. Again here, like I could get rid of a single Jotun, and well, I can't do it for at least another 16.7 days as I'm unlocking that card, but I could get rid of that Jotun and get another Gretch, potentially, or maybe max my Mile. It's these sorts of like tiny little choices that I'm faced with now when I'm sort of thinking about my collection and thinking about what the future holds, because I'm really, really interested in actively engaging with and playing with the land expansion, because I feel like in terms of battling, I've played a lot of battles in this game, and the only battles that I truly, really enjoy playing are the guild battles. So, you know, I'm at this point 30,000 Splinterlands battles deep. I feel like I've seen everything. I feel like I'm at the point where I'm ready for that next edition of cards, or I'm ready for a tower defense, or the land management side of things. And I don't want to like run away and get rid of my cards or anything, but I want these new gameplay elements. So I was watching Luthion's stream on the weekend where she sat down with Weirdbeard and they spoke about Battle Pass, to keep people coming back to the game. Like, you know, play this many games every day and you will gain progression to this thing and that thing and this other thing, which I really like the idea of. I really do. It's a way to continue engagement with the community and ensure that everyone is prioritizing progression over anything else, because you want to try and leverage that FOMO of like, oh, I got this battle pass, I've got all this time to do it. My only hope is that that also gets incorporated in something like the tower defense game as well. So we will see, and I really, really hope that we're going to have a good mobile app for tower defense, because it's going to be the best way to play, I think, or a good browser thing. So yeah, I don't know. I apologize for sort of making this now a little bit sounding like I feel a little bit jaded and whatnot in terms of playing the game. I've been playing for 4 years. So it's been a very long time, and sort of the mechanics and stuff, I feel like I'm ready for new stuff in the game. I still love the game. It's brilliant design. It's that minutes to learn, lifetime to master, with people having access to all the same stuff, like in these ghost card tourneys and things. I think that's a really interesting development that truly brings out the best players, and not just those who are like, hey, I'm gonna just pay to win and buy all the cards so my opponents can't use them at all, and that sort of thing. I'm very glad to hear that, Ron. Tower defense is going to be mobile first. Were there any promos for like individual purchases for tower defense here, or was it just the group? Because I could get behind getting me some more tower defense, but I don't think I can scrape up this number of capital on my own by selling scraps out of my collection. If I could, I'd probably do that right now, because it's going to be fun. At least I feel like it's going to be fun. I feel like it's going to be a lot of fun. But maybe that's the approach I'll take instead of going to summon a town. But then, you know, there's the added complexity of cards will also have utility in tower defense. So maybe I'm going to need even more cards than what I currently have. So there's so many opportunities, sort of intersections and choices to make all along the way. So it's going to be super duper interesting this next 6 to 12 months. Have we had a tower defense dev diary? Because I haven't looked at these in quite some time. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Oh, look at the tower defense dev diaries. Okay, so basic towers are done, attacks are done, slowdown towers are working, stun towers are working, fiends that crawl, walk, run, fly through the pass are working, boss fiends are working. In progress, special towers have unique abilities such as enhancing. Enhancing is new form of enhancing. Enhancing is extreme enhancing. Plethora of unique spells, mechanics of how a hero works to change tide of battle. Working on some great visuals. Yeah, I think these are pretty good. This reminds me of the the board game Pandemic. I don't know if any of you guys have played that board game, but it's absolutely torturous. We've also decided to update the look of our first hero. I really wanted to make her fit more into the game world and the style. Well, I see different concepts here, but you know what I really see? Different skins. They should use all the concepts. And then it's random as to which one you get. That's my opinion. So that's the most recent dev diary for tower defense, at least in my brief peruse. Yes. But I've actually not really been paying attention. And in fact, I didn't even look at the Splinterfest highlight stuff about land. So I'm so uneducated in all the developments that have happened since Splinterfest, because I've just been so busy in the real world. Oh wow, this looks really cool. This is like a live reacts right now. This looks awesome. It looks just like the well, look at where it is. It's in the market. It's under land sales. It looks just like the other item screen. Look at that tech modernization. Yeah, this looks cool. So there's going to be natural, magical, occupied kingdoms. So I'm guessing that's going to be the tract and the castles. These are probably going to be different elements. Then there's going to be maybe golden ones? I don't know. And then interesting. So each one has a settlement name, and then you've got each of the plots lined up. And I'm guessing these divisible lines are sort of like a tract. That could be a keep, or that could just be the selected plot. And that is probably the castle. So is this a region? I'm not going to sit here and count the individual plots, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? So there's 8 plots in there. I'm trying to figure out what these square lines are, and I'm aware of the fact that this is just concept art, but now I feel sort of tempted to count how many how many tracks or plots of land there are in there. So let's do a little grid. So there's 4 by 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So there's 40 plots in that little section. That could be a tract. That could be a representation of a tract. So it looks like that might be a thing. That seems to be a representation of that too. And then of course there's the actual lands that we see. And then there's a nice little hidden detail. Building options, quarry, rockyard, scriptopetorium, or an arcanum. So, man, I'm just looking at this and thinking from a game design perspective, a scripty place on the Badlands is probably going to produce different scripty stuff than a lake. It's probably going to produce different scripty stuff to a caldera, or different variants of it. Maybe one is more efficient. Maybe one is a green flavor potion, and that one's a yellow flavor potion, and that one's a purple flavor potion that comes out of the whatever. And then all of the resources as well. And then all of the other resources that are going to be needed to update the buildings and the structures and stuff. Storage of units? Oh, so I'm guessing it's storage of the produced resources. Okay, so there's going to be the settlements then. The tracks within it. Distance from the castle, building, production. Okay, so it looks like some of this design is quite far along. This looks cool. This is what gets me super mega absurdly excited about the future of all this stuff. Because the other avenue I could go down is, what if I sold that Jotun, for example, and just went and got more land to be like a land dragon? Could that be a possibility? Yes. Like that Jotun and that kitty equals more land, but it could also equal more tower defense. So I end up finding myself in this situation of like, I don't know what I want to do. Then I have the added complexity of I've got the totems here. So I've got 17 if I look at my epics and rare totems, which cover my loose plots. Then I've got my tract, and then it's like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? Because I think when I did the maths earlier, if I was to open up all my Chaos Legion packs, I would end up with 17 max level summoners in total in my collection. But then that leaves my tract sort of not unable to be used, but just like, what would I do? What would I do with it? And Daru, I love your persistence around the best option being to just send you the land. It's going to be interesting to see how the land rental system and stuff works as well. But the other question I've got to ask myself now is sort of what is the depth of that land as well in the market. Yeah, absolutely. You've got to try. You've got to be persistent and diligent to succeed at anything. And we've got the land plot things. Yeah, I haven't actually delved really far into this element of the market. We've still also got very little idea of how totems are going to work and what they are going to do beyond when placed in the building on a land plot. Totems can increase production, reduce maintenance costs, or other benefits. Rare totems provide greater benefits than common totems. I bet you the epic totem description is going to be exactly the same, except a find and replace. Yes, epic totems provide greater benefits than rare totems. I think we'll see the same thing with the legendary totem. No, legendary totems provide the greatest benefit of them all. Well, that sounds pretty cool. But there's certainly not a lot of depth on those legendary totems. And I don't think there is a great deal of legendary totems in circulation. Do we see the circulation there? I don't think we do. We'd have to divide that by that. No, we wouldn't, because that's probably just the price of what's listed. I don't know, my brain... No, that's the price in DEC, because if I change that to credits, it's going to change. I know how the world works. I clearly don't. I mean, the other option as well is just go and collect lots and lots of Chaos Legion packs through the secondary market. And then be like, okay, cool, now I have packs. But then the other thing I've got to consider is I'm in a guild. And guild upgrades don't buy themselves. Well, unless you're participating in that sale, because I thought that I saw something in there around free level 10 guild halls. Okay, so how much is that worth? As someone who, along with my guild, we built our guild hall from the ground up. So it's a million DEC. But the next step is the arena. I'm rambling and ranting an awful lot today, aren't I? I think the only cure would be to give Daru my land, and then instantly I'd be cured of my rambling, and I would just be weeping instead for hours. Hours on end. It's now Splinterlands weeping stream, full of tears. But this crown requirement is really slowing us down. Slowing us down immensely. But I think our guild's goal is to try and max out our arena so we can get as many tiers as possible. And from there, I think the next step is to go via the barracks. No, not the barracks, the store. To then maximize those merits. And then get all the Gladius packs. Because that's actually the other thing. Like, this all comes full circle, right? because the Gladius cards can also be used on land. And I'm not going to need all of my Gladius cards all of the time. But I am going to need more Gladius cards because I am missing quite a few, mainly the legendaries. In fact, all of the legendaries other than Ginny Guys. So that's the struggle. Can we get the Bloodstones for vouchers now? No, not yet. That's a shame. I don't want to spend DEC on the Bloodstones though, because there's no new sources of DECs. Trying won't, as long as it's not thinking about all of the options. Like I've said, and like I've going to say many times here, there's so many different avenues to pursue. Here's something else that I haven't read: the sales policy, capital new players. I'm very much scrim reading this. Only benefits, recruiting benefits, sale for bulk deals. Solution, more predictable rhythm for sales. New product releases. Splinterfest. You thought it was 150 DC per stone? Ah, well, there is one difference here. Guild Lodge discount applied. 8%. So one of the benefits of being in the guild, and it used to apply to dice editions in the past, is with your Guild Lodge, you not only get reward point bonuses, you also get a discount in the store, and that's based off of what was once a quest but is now a focus, and that enables you to get discounts on things. So if I go over to the shop and go over to potions, we should see that discount reflected here as well. So you can see, yeah, 36.8 DEC per charge, whereas normally that potion would be 8% dearer, but it's not represented as well on this particular page as it is on the guild page. On the guild page, it's represented really nicely. Oh, and look, I have merits. What am I talking about? Let's go spend those merits. Oh, it's like the surprises never stop today. Guild store. Let's go grab us some Gladius cases and see if we can't fill that legendary rift in my Gladius collection. See, I still get excited about stuff in this game. It's just those moments of excitement feel to be spread apart. I'm also interested to see when we're going to get the Rooney in game as well. But that's going to add another layer of complexity, I'm sure. Okay, so we got 3 rares in this pack. That's pretty good. Are any of them going to be rares that I want, though? I like Chimney. I think I've used Aurella a few times, but I tend not to play Fire as much as Earth. Earth and Life. They just rule the Gladius battles and the guild brawls because of Captain Katie and Cora. Okay, what is in here? Just 2 rares. Oh, speaking of the devil, there's a Captain Katie. Nah, I didn't get the stones. I don't believe in stones. I don't believe in the healing power of bloodstone crystals. Probably would be wise to get the bloodstones to try and get more of the legendaries, because in one of my guild brawls I found myself fighting up against a legendary card Oh, excuse me. Yawning. The legendary neutral card, Tatiana Blade, and I believe they had a level 2 one in the battle. I couldn't hit it. It absolutely destroyed me, and I think the rule set that I was playing it in, or that I was playing against it in, was also close range. So I had this like just absolute monster in the front line destroying whatever my tank was. It wasn't in the current brawl cycle, I think it was in the one previously. But if you think Quora is overpowered, have I got news for you? I got absolutely destroyed this brawl cycle. Let's see, was it in here? Nope. So it wasn't in that battle. No. I'm actually excited to look at these losses now because I want to see if it was in this brawl cycle. No, it wasn't. But this one was a pretty funny battle, I guess. It was not great for me. Because if there's one thing worse than Quora, it's Last Stand Quora. Absolute massive. So broken. Okay. Now that I've recovered from that marginally. No, it wasn't that battle either. I'm pretty sure I was not in this guild cycle, but the one prior. That Tatiana Blade. It's just so powerful. And here we had Cora Cron with Mylor as the accompaniment. Was it this one? No. And here I didn't even bring a Bloodlust on my own. So, yeah, I got pushed into a Bronze Fray. Haven't played Bronze Fray in forever. Haven't played Bronze League in forever. But, yeah, it's fun times. It's absolutely fun times. But there's a lot of SPS out there in Brawl Town. It's a ridiculous amount of SPS when you look at it this way. Yeah, I really want my Gold League Fray back. I like the Fray that's either gold or diamond, where Chaos Legion and Dice. What's the new one? What's the new one? Rift Watches can be used now that that's been upgraded. Because again, those are the cards that I have the greatest percentage of as a collection overall. But yeah, does anyone want to send me a challenge? Give me a battle. My ECR is at 47%, so every ranked battle that I play at this point is going to cost me 5% ECR, so I don't wanna. I can talk more and more about like all these speculative bits and pieces, but it's a struggle to make it engaging, and my thoughts are so spiderwebby about all of this that I can go down so many different rabbit holes, so many different points of analysis, so many different points of, well, what about this? What about that? What about this other thing? One of the things that I'm hoping to see is Chaos Legion, the Gladiator Gold. Yeah. Let's see. What Gladiator Golds do I have? We're about to find out. I'll try and play the gold foil ones. It's 54 mana. It's Lost magic. Weak magic. I had to try and remember what that was. Um, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I'm going to play, but I'm going to go to my rip cam so that we can obscure what my team selection is going to be. I just realized my microphone sort of looks like the Eye of Sauron right now, just with the way the cable's coming out of the back of it. It's the little things that entertain me now. Or does my microphone look like Cornelius? I think I'd prefer it to look like Cornelius. What are we going to do? We've got weak magic, so Wraith is useless. At least I think Wraith is useless. But maybe that's not useless. We'll do this, we'll do that. I think I'll keep my promise here. I'll try and use what gold foil I have. But at the same time, I'm operating on very little sleep and lots of work having taken place in my life over the last 8 or 9 days, and it's only going to get worse throughout this week. So my brain is well and truly fried. I feel like I'm walking around in a daze even though I'm sitting down. I've submitted my team and we will see what happens. Not so much the Xmas rush, it's more along the lines of trying to get everything done before the company I work for shuts down for the end of the year and we all go on leave. And why are you just giving me only the skip to results option? Let's refresh that. Let's fix that up. Okay, so I'm gonna have some fun trying to hit the lurker here. I love the fact that you brought Time Mage with you, reducing any benefit I would have gotten from any armor while bringing a repair of your own. Real is going down, but they're coming back. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Thank you. There we go. Let's rewind and start from scratch. Oh wait, that didn't rewind. See? My brain is not functioning. Alright, here we go. So, Daru's done a really good team composition here by using Time Mage to remove all of my armor. And as a result, they are exploiting the fact that they brought a repair along, but they don't have any armor visible either, other than the Corsair Buson, which means my team is in quite the dire straits in terms of trying to actually hit anything. And Captain Katie is not going to be doing any rescue operations on my side of the team. Jinra Nova just stole the kill. Oh, and then Captain Katie just flat out missed. Then got absolutely trampled upon. And now it's all up to Dr. Blight. I don't like Dr. Blight's chances. Really well played, Daru. Exceptionally well played. That sort of stuff makes me learn my lesson good. And I think my guild is in tier 3. Why did I click on events instead of guilds? Tier 3. Pretty sure. Yes, we're in tier 3. Yeah. Did we have everyone in the guild enter their teams? Yes, we did. Awesome. So yeah, there's lots of stuff that goes on in and around this thing. Yeah, Lurker is this weird card. Like I've been very vocal about saying that Lurker is trash. I don't like it. Like, I really, really don't like the lurker. I think it is trash because it's very vulnerable to kitty and giant killer. So we'll just wander over to peak monsters because I find that that's the easiest way to search. But if we go giant killer, and you're playing anything with kitty. Now our guild is just one guild. It's called Roaring Twenties, as in you think back to the 1920s as an era. You know, it was the Roaring Twenties back then. We figured we're entering the 2020s when we first started up the guild. And I also like the guild name because it was along the lines of the Dungeons and Dragons reference of rolling 20s, almost. But I've clearly not been rolling 20s in any of my battles recently. So that was the logic behind the naming of the guild. That was the brainchild of Matt Clark, who a couple of weeks back came to my house for my stream. We had a nice old chat about battles and things and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, Kitty is an ultimate counter for Lurker. But when you combine Kitty with something like the Gin Inferni, which has that giant killer ability, let me make this a grid so we can look at it. Even with Carbalist, Skyclaw seems like an obvious combination. Desert Dragon absolutely destroys Kitty, Lurker, with its giant killer. That's another one of my favorite cards at the moment. Desert Dragon. I just like Trample. Yeah, I've noticed Jared Scar has sort of had this incredible sort of ascent to, you never used to see him at all, and now if you see him played on live team and you don't have one in your team, you're probably going to lose. Jared Scar sort of had the opposite reaction in my brain of what you observed with Lurker. I always thought they weren't very good, and then all of a sudden they came out and were like, oh my god, they are demolishing teams. Jared Scar. I really like Desert Dragon because it reminds me of an alpha card, except it's a better version, because the alpha card I'm thinking of is a common. Silver Shield Knight, just because it has piercing and trample. It's like, that's it. I actually really still do like Silver Shield Knight. I think I've got a video on my YouTube from back in the classic ancient Splinterlands days, where the rule set for trample as it stands now is infinite. That was just a part of the standard game beforehand. You could trample infinitely by default. So there's tons of gameplay mechanics that have changed over time, but there's been a lot of stuff changed. Yes, it was beautiful with double sneak. I also think that trample should like work backwards. So if it's super sneak and you've got a trample happening, let's just go have a look at this one here so I can sort of explain what I mean. So let's say this is super sneak and the dragon is attacking this guy. The trample sort of just ends here. Oh, sorry. Yeah, here. The trample just ends. But if it's sneaking, then shouldn't the trample proceed through to the front? You know, I know that the word says next target, trample ability. Hang on, what does it actually say? When a monster with trample hits and kills its target, it will perform another attack on the next monster on the enemy team. Yeah, that's similar to how it works in Magic. I think that's exactly how it works in Magic, Darrow, where the unused damage that destroyed the prior creature is applied to the next one. Yeah. That could be an interesting modification. It would nerf a lot of the trample cards, though. It would nerf a lot of them really badly. I think it'd overall be a bad change. I like the fact that they just get a new attack on the next creature, or maybe they could grandfather it in existing trample creatures where it's got, instead of it being just a trample ability, it's it's almost like a trample double strike, where if it kills, it will do full damage to the next one. Yeah, I like that thinking. A new skill called Overkill that basically does exactly the same thing that Trample does now, but applies the damage to the next creature. We'd have to be really careful if we were to design a card like that, and of course we're like all theory crafting around it now, because you wouldn't want it to have something like Giant Killer that Dragon has. So let's say he kills Longtail that's on 2 health, but he's done 12 damage. He's got 10 damage left to disperse, but technically that 10 damage was intended only for a giant killer. If the next creature was also a giant, sure, carry on that overkill damage. But what if it wasn't a giant? So you'd have to be really clever about how you design a card with overkill to not have things like charge. Actually, charge would be really fun on a overkill card, I think. We're making up stuff as we go. I like it. The team has such an incredible backlog of stuff to work on at the moment, and there's so much more that can yet be done with the game. The thing that's, and this has surprised me for a very, very long time, I'll just switch back over to full screen camera here, is like I did a little bit of game design stuff back at university, so I understand all of these sort of considerations and whatnot. I used to be a video game journalist back in my university days. I did that part-time. I've worked for a video game publisher in the past as well, in their marketing team and their community management sort of stuff. So I've got a pretty deep understanding of game design and that sort of thing, which brings me to the point that I wanted to make, is that, it's something that I've considered, and I have some ideas of my own, but time is my limiting factor, is that Splinterlands operates in a pretty modern framework in the back end. You log in with your keychain, you can look at your card collection, you can compare your card collection to other people's card collections, and it would be really easy to program up some mini games for Splinterlands. One that I've sort of toyed with in my brain is, you've got your cards, and you use your cards to do battle in Splinterlands, and in the future we can use them on land or tower defense or whatever. But why don't we make another game, where we're not battling in Splinterlands, but we're battling in this other game? And I had this idea of sort of like a Colosseum where I select a card, the opponent selects a card. It doesn't have to be just one card. Let's say I pick an Ifrit Elder, someone else picks a Phineas Rage. Those two cards fight each other. And then the loser of that battle, they don't actually lose anything, but every card in Splinterlands, it has a unique ID, right? you could say this E3 Elder has been defeated in the Colosseum and can never participate in that Colosseum battle in that other game mode ever again. So it's sort of like this last man standing type game using all these blockchain IDs of the cards so that if someone wanted to keep playing that other card game, you know, that I've got in my brain, you're not burning this card in Splinterlands, but you're burning its ability to participate in battles in this alternate game mode because it's been defeated in that other game mode. Because I'm a big fan of hardcore games where if your character dies, it's not just game over, reload your save, your character is dead, you have lost all your items, you have lost all your progress. It's something where it could be like, oh man, my E3 Elder got destroyed in, let's call it Last Splinter Standing. I don't know, I'm making up stuff now. But I need an E3 Elder in my Last Splinter Standing team. So someone would go to the market and then they could say, have a new little icon to say, oh, it is undefeated in Last Standing mode, or that sort of thing. So it wouldn't be difficult for someone to come along and code something up like this. I'm just surprised that more stuff hasn't emerged out of it. It doesn't even have to have an economy behind it, that sort of thing. I mean, you could have a thing to say, okay, you want to participate in this battle. It's, I don't know, 1 DC each, and then the winner takes 1.8 DC and 0.2 DC goes to the service as a payment for running or whatever. But, you know, you need to importantly build a fun game around something like that. So I think the focus should instead be, how do you make a fun game out of something that you can use your Splinterlands cards that you already have, and make it better? Not better, but, you know, give us alternate possibilities. I mean, another idea that I've toyed with is, you know, you take a creature card. I don't know, let's use Merdhampier, for example. And again, along this sort of, once it's died in this other game mode, you know, it's done. It's not burnt from the Splinterlands game, but it's burnt from this alternate game mode where you could play it a little bit like a roguelike RPG, where, okay, your Merdhampier is in a hallway. There are 3 creatures. Do you attack or do you flee? And have it, you know, choice driven, that sort of thing. It doesn't even have to be a blockchain game, right? It could just be a game, but the important thing is having a database that says this card ID perished, or this other card ID did not perish, it had a victory, and then you could have these alternate stats, you know, to say this Merdhampier has 14 victories or has defeated 782 monsters. You know, you get into that achievement sort of stuff. There's so much you can do with data in the back end to make it a more interesting game. So my day job, I need to think about the words there. It involves a lot of data analysis, thinking about data and how that data can be used. And such an enormous amount of data that we can leverage in Splinterlands. The only problem is there's so much of it on the blockchain. And you could do an achievement system, Bobo Man, by just scraping every single Splinterlands battle that has taken place, make up arbitrary achievements to say, kill a flying creature with snare, check every battle a player's done, see if they've killed a flying creature with snare, and hey presto, you bestow that achievement based on having scraped all of those prior battles that the player has taken place in. And it would be easy to retroactively do that. It would just be computationally extraordinarily expensive to scrape through all of those battles for every player, you'd have to set a limit on it to basically say, you don't have to do it retroactively, but I'd like that idea of rewarding people who've been here, who've done stuff, and who may have done stuff that is no longer possible to do in the game. Like Lord of Darkness used to have an ability called, what was the ability called? It was like a stun, but it shuffled creatures on the battlefield. Yeah, it could be a season basis, but the other way around that, if you weren't doing it if you wanted to do it retroactively, would be to basically only do it for currently active players, or currently active players who have played more than X games, etc. Yeah. It would be cool. Like, there's so many things that the community could build for this, and we're seeing so much stuff be built right now around Splinterlands, whether it's some of these bot services, the rental services, all that sort of thing, but it's all based around economy, and it sort of alludes to the point I was trying to make earlier of I want more game, because game is what I'm here for. I like game. I love games, and it's something that for many, many years of my life I've wanted to do, and I've been lucky enough to work on some stuff and all that sort of things. Yeah, like I've built my own sort of like achievement system where I'm like, I am trying to play through my Steam game library alphabetically. And I've been doing that for something like 2.5 years at this point. And I've got a very, very large Steam library. I'm only up to F currently in my Steam library. But yeah, there's some games that I play just to like achieve something. Like Slay the Spire on Switch, I get nothing out of that in terms of whatever, but it's a fun game. It keeps me coming back. It also is very, very good at putting me to sleep. So there's that helps. But yeah, I've been learning Python over the last year or so, and I feel like I've got enough skills in Python to potentially build some logic and whatever. I'd have to transpose into something Java, but it's not hard. I know enough Python now to be able to pick up another language pretty easy, I think. It's just about making something fun that people want to play, whether or not there's a reward attached to it or not. People play Fortnite, sure, you get skins, you get that rush, you get that fun. I've never played Fortnite, so I don't know what I'm talking about, but I used to play League of Legends a long time. Exactly, Dara. It's not hard, it's just time consuming. There's all these time traps that people get stuck into. One of my favorite things to do is on my phone is to limit, I don't have the social media apps on my phone, so I don't have the Instagram or Facebook visible on my home screens. It's hidden, and if I want to go on there, I have to make a concerted choice to search for it, and unhide the app, because it can't uninstall it off my phone, because there's probably some back-end marketing deal there about that. Also, I need to use that stuff for my photography work that I do in my spare time. So yeah, it's not hard, it's time consuming, and it's easy to design something as a game that you think is awesome, but is really broken and unbalanced. That's the other thing. There's a reason why there's actual game design academia type things, and there's books on game theory that were released long before the first computer came out, and all that sort of thing. Like, to produce something that's engaging and balanced and fair is truly, truly like just this massive time sink. But yeah, I think it's easy to get a proof of concept out and try to get something that functions, and then if it fails, it fails. Sure, okay, cool. You wasted some time. But what did you learn from that? How can you move forwards? There was a project that Splinterlands actually ran uh, ages ago now, which was like a Splinterlands game jam. I don't know if we're going to be able to find it on their blog or whether some of these games are still live. Splinterlands game jam, where the community developed games as part of a competition that Splinterlands was running, and there was a really cool like idle clicker game from memory where you were like a wolf or something. Let's see, Splinterlands game jam. I'm pretty sure that's what it was called, but it definitely wasn't last year or the year before. I reckon it was in 2019. There was a couple of like fun little mini games that people had made, but then it all sort of disappeared after that. Yeah, and you want those carrots to be around for people to come. A game that did that really well was Book of Demons. It's basically a love letter to Diablo and all sorts of other hack and slash sort of loot 'em up games. But when you started up the game, it would say, how much time have you got? What sort of play session do you want? And you could basically say, yeah, I got 25 minutes, and it will drop you in a dungeon based on your previous playthroughs that will take you 25 minutes. And every time that dungeon sort of procedurally generated and really, really good like quality of life game design. And I probably put like 40 or 50 hours into that game as a result of how good and how engaging like that particular mechanic itself was. And you know, it's something where Splinterlands just, it takes a lot of time investment to get the most out of it. You can jump in and play games, or you can have this be your only game. Whereas I'm the sort of person that likes having varied experiences, and it's kind of like playing League of Legends. You know, you play hundreds and hundreds of games in that, and you've like, this is the same map. I know this corner of the jungle. I know this tower, this little place where you can do your little flash or your little dash over the obstacles and whatnot. We know dragon's going to spawn at this time. It becomes familiar, and you get to this sort of autopilot mode, just like driving a car. You know, when you're driving home, you know the way, you're going there. You're not really paying attention. You're immersed, you're there. But then sometimes there's this facade of, been here before and I know this place. And that's how I've sort of been feeling about the Splinterlands battle. So I'm really keen to see these new modes, tower defense, the new stuff that's coming with potentially this battle pass stuff that Weirdbeard had spoken to Luthien about on her stream on the weekend. And I'm excited about the ideas that are floating around in my head that may never come to fruition because, again, time limits. Coming up to the end of my stream here as well. Because some of this stuff is simple, it's experimental, it's another way for things to be utilized. And most importantly, it's another way for us to have fun. Yeah, I was lucky it was on Sunday morning for me, I think, when I was watching it, but you can always go back and watch the replay on Twitch for that through the Splinterlands TV website. You can basically go watch person's last stream. There's a button. Let me see if I can show you. I'm just going to bring up Splinterlands TV site in the last 40 seconds of my stream here. Or you can go through and dig it up through the Twitch VODs. I can't find it, not in the time that I'm going to have left here in my stream, but yeah, it was a good chat that she had with Weirdbeard. I found it interesting. I wasn't really paying full attention. I just had it on in the background. but it gave me a whole bunch of ideas around what the future can hold outside of what Splinterlands themselves develops. But that's all for me, and I'll catch you guys later in the week. Cheers.